Unfortunately, the pandemic has slightly slewed things in as much as it's hard to.
Duchess Sophie of Edinburgh has never been one to openly express hostility, but when it comes to Camilla, she isn't holding back anymore. For years, tensions between the two women have simmered under the surface, but now, at 60, Sophie appears to be making a bold statement. Insiders reported hearing the phrase, "You're not my queen," to reinforce that belief. She is actively carving her own path, seemingly in homage to Princess Diana, whom she deeply admired. Sophie's subtle but unmistakable rejection of Camilla has become impossible to ignore as she takes on more royal duties and supports causes close to Diana's heart. But where did this rivalry begin, and why is it now coming to a head? Join us as we explore yet another fascinating royal story. Sophie's open rejection of Camilla in what many are calling a shocking yet long-anticipated moment has been reported. An intense confrontation between Duchess Sophie and Queen Camilla reportedly unfolded, leaving royal circles stunned. According to insiders, the incident took place during a private meeting between the two women, where Camilla allegedly attempted to offer Sophie advice on her humanitarian work, specifically, her philanthropic efforts to support victims of war and sexual violence. Duchess Sophie, who has earned widespread praise for her tireless advocacy on behalf of vulnerable women in conflict zones, has long been seen as a champion for those whose voices are often silenced. Her recent accomplishments are nothing short of historic. Sophie made headlines as the first working royal to visit war-torn Sudan, a groundbreaking move that further solidified her role as an active humanitarian figure within the royal family. Sophie's work, especially her unwavering commitment to raising awareness about the plight of women who suffer in the aftermath of war, has been compared to the legacy of the late Princess Diana. Like Diana, Sophie has carved out a unique space for herself, one that emphasizes compassion, empathy, and action in the face of global crises. Her humanitarian efforts are not only a passion but a personal mission, and she takes immense pride in maintaining her independence, especially when it comes to her causes. However, it seems that Sophie's dedication to her work and her sense of autonomy came into direct conflict with Queen Camilla's efforts to provide guidance. According to multiple reports, during a conversation between the two, Camilla sought to advise Sophie on how to approach her charitable endeavors, believing she could offer the best direction and help refine Sophie's approach. Sources close to the situation suggest that Camilla, perhaps feeling that Sophie could benefit from a more seasoned perspective, saw the moment as an opportunity to share her insights. However, Sophie appeared reluctant to embrace Camilla's counsel, signaling a difference in approach and priorities. In a moment of palpable tension, the Duchess reportedly shut Camilla down with a firm statement, "You are not my queen." The royal family was shocked by these words, leading many to question the intensity of the animosity between the two women. The audacity of Sophie's response has raised eyebrows, especially considering the long-standing nature of the royal hierarchy and the expectations placed upon its members to maintain public civility. But the confrontation didn't end there. Sources claimed that Sophie, with an air of finality, followed up with a pointed remark, "I know my queen. She still lives." While the comment may have seemed like a passing remark, those familiar with the dynamics of the royal family immediately interpreted it as a powerful reference to Princess Diana. Sophie, known for her reverence of Diana's legacy, was reportedly making it clear where her true loyalties lie, firmly with the late Princess of Wales. This was not just an affront to Camilla's position as queen consort but a statement about Sophie's deep respect for Diana and her ongoing influence in the royal sphere. While the incident itself has taken many by surprise, it was, in reality, a long-expected flashpoint in a relationship that has been fraught with tension for decades. The strained relationship between Duchess Sophie and Queen Camilla has been brewing for years, fueled by underlying tensions, rivalry, and deep-rooted differences. This ongoing discord is the result of a complex blend of contrasting backgrounds, competing influences within the royal family, and a history of public and private dynamics that have never truly aligned. Over time, the relationship between the two women has become increasingly marked by subtle competition and caution, with each vying for their own place within the monarchy's intricate power structure. At the core of their rivalry is the stark difference in their personal backgrounds. Sophie, born into a middle-class family, has long been known for her down-to-earth and relatable demeanor. Her humble origins have allowed her to connect with the public in ways that her more aristocratic counterparts sometimes cannot. Sophie's relatability and her genuine commitment to her royal duties, especially her humanitarian work, have earned her widespread respect. She has carefully cultivated an image as a hard-working, compassionate royal who puts others first, earning her the admiration of both the British public and her fellow royals. In contrast, Queen Camilla hails from a long line of aristocracy, and her upbringing was marked by privilege and entitlement. Her sense of aristocratic dignity and her often aloof public persona set her apart from someone like Sophie, whose natural humility contrasts sharply with Camilla's more traditional aristocratic airs. While Camilla has undoubtedly worked hard to carve her place in the royal family, her background has always been one of privilege and social elevation, which, in Sophie's eyes, may seem somewhat distant or out of touch with the public. In contrast, Queen Elizabeth's approval of Camilla was far from their very different paths. The Queen's initial hesitation about Camilla, which, given the sensitivity surrounding her relationship has been a source of lingering resentment and unspoken conflict between them. While the Queen eventually accepted Camilla's assimilation into the royal fold, was a stark contrast to Camilla's much more difficult and controversial with challenges. While Sophie was quickly embraced as a trusted royal, Camilla had to work tirelessly to prove herself and fight for her palace sources, particularly the contrast in the Queen's reception of the two women only deepened the relationship with Charles. Sophie had already secured a strong and trusted relationship with the Queen, and some believe Camilla viewed her as a rival of years of scrutiny and opposition before finally earning trust, while she herself had to fight for it. This dynamic created an underlying tension fueled an ongoing sense of competition and quiet resentment between the two women. Another key aspect of the tension also played a significant role in shaping public perceptions of Queen Elizabeth II, Camilla, which became a major point of contention between them. Sophie was one of the Queen's closest confidants. Sophie has a bond between Sophie and Queen Elizabeth II was one of deep mutual respect, humble, with Sophie quickly becoming someone the Queen Camilla's relationship with the press has been far more turbulent. Sophie was swiftly and unequivocally vilified due to her affair with Prince Charles, and her natural grace and unwavering sense of duty as the woman responsible for the dissolution of Charles and Diana's marriage. While Camilla has worked tirelessly to rehabilitate her image, the shadow of her past has never fully disappeared, making it difficult for her to escape the public's lingering skepticism. This stark contrast in media treatment has only widened the gap between them, with Camilla reportedly aware of, and at times frustrated by, the press's more positive portrayal of Sophie. Some believe this dynamic has added to the subtle but persistent competition between the two women, with Camilla striving to win over the public in a way that Sophie seemingly never had to. Recently, Sophie's role within the royal family has only grown in prominence. This has not gone unnoticed by Camilla, who may view Sophie's rising influence as a challenge to her role as queen consort. The competition for influence between the two women has undoubtedly fueled much of their underlying rivalry, with each woman striving to carve out and protect her own area of influence within the royal family. The root of the conflict lies in Camilla's controversial past and Sophie's loyalty to Diana. At the heart of Sophie's apparent disdain for Camilla lies an unavoidable truth: Camilla played a pivotal role in the unraveling of Princess Diana's marriage to Prince Charles. Sophie, who has long held a deep admiration and respect for Diana, allegedly finds it impossible to overlook the painful events that led to Diana's heartache and eventual divorce. Sophie's loyalty to Diana runs deep, almost to a point where it shapes her interactions with anyone tied to the events that led to Diana's suffering. Diana's tragic story of betrayal and public humiliation is something that Sophie can't simply erase or forgive. As a result, Camilla, who was once the other woman in Diana's marriage, remains a deeply controversial figure in Sophie's eyes. Reports suggest that Sophie perceives Camilla as a symbol of betrayal and dishonesty. To her, Camilla's actions in the past lack moral integrity, something that Sophie values above all else. This feeling is not just a fleeting emotional response, it runs much deeper. The emotional scars of the past are still visible, and they have left Sophie with a lingering sense of unease regarding Camilla's position. Many royal insiders believe that Sophie's rejection of Camilla as queen is rooted in this deeply ingrained sense of loyalty to Diana. It's as though, by accepting Camilla, Sophie would be betraying Diana's memory, and that is simply something she cannot bring herself to do. The words Sophie spoke, "You are not my queen," were very clear. They also showed where her loyalty still lies, with Diana, who was like a sister to her. Sophie and Diana shared a sisterly bond that Camilla could never break. Sophie and Diana's relationship was rooted in mutual respect, understanding, and a deep connection forged through shared experiences and values. Both women, despite their differing backgrounds, found themselves thrust into the public eye under the intense scrutiny of the royal family, which made their relationship all the more meaningful. Diana, with her warmth and compassion, and Sophie, with her empathetic nature, quickly recognized in each other a kindred spirit. The pressures of royal life were well understood by both of them, resulting in a unique sense of solidarity. Sophie admired Diana's ability to maintain her kind-heartedness despite the constant public attention and personal trials. Like Diana, on the other hand, appreciated Sophie's genuine empathy and her steadfast loyalty. Such as Ukraine this and mutual Sudan, admiration went beyond surface-level interaction. It was built on a profound respect for one another's values. In contrast, Sophie's unwavering Camilla has remained largely within the structure during the ceremonial confines of royal life, was something that Diana's continuity rather than its evolution. While the rest of the royal family Sophie's hands-on humanitarian work challenges the public by embodying Diana's approach, Sophie quietly offered her loyalty and deeply personal. Diana's trust also carved out a role as a leading voice for women's health, blossomed as a topic long ignored in royal circles. It was about respecting each other's by advocating bonding beyond their royal and menopause awareness, not just supporting each other in a way that echoes Diana's push to break. In addition to their personal connection, their bond was further strengthened by shared philanthropic interests. Has focused more on upholding royal traditions, making Sophie's progressive stance feel like a direct contrast, championing causes that supported marginalized Camilla's more conventional leadership. Diana's commitment to humanitarian work, Sophie's personal advocacy with the public also echoes Diana's legendary accessibility resonated deeply with Sophie. While Camilla has embraced the traditional, women found common ground in their desire to improve the lives of the less fortunate and bring attention to global issues connecting that often went unnoticed in a way that challenges the royal family's collective efforts to raise awareness and drive change only deepened just a difference in style. It's a deliberate make the world a better place. Sophie's actions even after Diana's tragic passing, way of Sophie has continued to honor her legacy in a way that speaks volumes about their friendship. This deliberate Sophie has dedicated herself to causes similar to those Diana held in the royal family, ensuring that the princess's influence on the world endures, whether it is aligning her continued with the more conventional, traditional reign that Camilla represents. Sophie's devotion to Diana is more than just an act of remembrance. She is taking up the mantle of the causes and values that Diana once held Camilla's reign, ensuring that the legacy of compassion, defiance against the woman long Diana left behind is carried forward in a meaningful way. In many ways, Sophie has made it abundantly clear through her actions that she is determined to honor Diana's public appearance, positioning her silence as a true successor to Diana's values and causes, but with rather than embracing the more traditional Sophie's subtle rejection of Camilla in every other way is clear. One of the most glaring differences between the two women is their approach to style. Sophie's wardrobe reflects her sophisticated, modern sensibilities, always chic, elegant, and contemporary. In contrast, Camilla often favors more old-fashioned, conservative attire, which tends to evoke a sense of formality that aligns with her role in the royal family but feels somewhat out of touch with the progressive, youthful atmosphere surrounding the monarchy today. Sophie's fashion choices reflect her understanding of the changing tides of public perception, as she effortlessly balances tradition with a keen awareness of what resonates with modern sensibilities. But Sophie's rejection of Camilla runs far deeper than just appearances. In nearly every aspect of royal life, Sophie has positioned herself in direct opposition to the Queen, sending an unmistakable message that she is not, and never will be, one of Camilla's allies. Sophie's bond with Prince William only amplifies this divide. Reports suggest that she has formed a close, almost maternal relationship with William, built on mutual respect, shared values, and a deep understanding of duty. William, who has long carried the emotional scars of his mother's suffering, has found in Sophie a source of comfort and guidance, qualities he has never sought in Camilla. Their friendship is a stark contrast to the cold, formal, and often strained dynamic between William and the woman who now wears his mother's crown. Just how deep does Sophie's resentment toward Camilla run? Recent revelations have shed light on the true extent of their fractured relationship. According to a well-placed royal insider, Sophie recently confided in a close confidant about her deep disdain for Camilla, expressing her frustration over Camilla's growing influence within the royal family, particularly in light of the shifting dynamics. Sophie was reportedly further dismayed by Camilla's attempt to offer guidance on her humanitarian endeavors, feeling that the Queen Consort's suggestions were fundamentally at odds with the values and principles she holds dear. The conversation, however, was far from private for long. Soon, details of the exchange leaked to the press, thrusting their private grievances into the public eye. This revelation sheds light on the depth of animosity that has simmered beneath the surface for some time. While rumors of a strained relationship between Sophie and Camilla have circulated for years, this leak has brought those whispers into sharper focus, offering a clearer picture of the emotional rift that now exists. It is no longer just a matter of personal differences between the two women, there is a larger, more complex power struggle at play within the royal family. Camilla's reaction to these revelations has reportedly been one of growing fear that Sophie is trying to undermine her. The leak about Sophie's candid confession has shaken Camilla to her core, intensifying the already simmering tension between the two women. Camilla is said to be livid, not just at Sophie's alleged remarks, but at the undeniable reality they expose. The public is increasingly gravitating toward Sophie, while Camilla continues to struggle with acceptance. For years, Camilla has worked tirelessly to reshape her image, attempting to transition from the most infamous woman in royal history to a respected queen consort. Yet just as she has started to cement her place in the monarchy, Sophie's growing popularity threatens to unravel everything she has built. Now, there is real fear within the palace, fear of a growing divide that could shift the balance of influence in the royal family. The fear within Camilla's camp is growing stronger, as it becomes increasingly clear that Sophie is not just a popular royal, but a rising force, one who could quietly shift public sentiment in a way that undermines Camilla's reign. With each passing day, it seems more likely that Sophie's trajectory is on a path that could challenge the very hierarchy Camilla has fought so hard to secure. The rivalry between the two women has reached a critical juncture, and this astonishing revelation, now made public, marks a pivotal moment that could alter the future of the royal family. In response to the growing power of Sophie, Camilla may attempt to assert more authority over her in an effort to solidify her own role. But Sophie is no longer a passive figure within this dynamic. As she continues to assert her independence and steadily carve out her own identity, it's becoming increasingly apparent that her actions are designed not only to establish her own place in the royal family but also to quietly reject Camilla's attempts to dominate the narrative. Sophie's reluctance to conform to the traditional, ceremonial royal mold represents a direct challenge to Camilla's authority, and it could lead to further fractures among those who are already feeling the tension. And as Sophie grows more confident in her defiance, the escalating tension between Sophie and Camilla is unlikely to remain contained for long, but by her refusal to fit into a role that she has never fully accepted. To deepen the divisions within the struggle for influence between the two women is far from over, and as time passes, it becomes evident that their power struggle will only intensify. In fact, it may very well escalate to a point where the lines between loyalty and rebellion blur completely, forcing those around them to pick sides. What began as a quiet undercurrent of tension has the potential to turn into a full-blown clash, with lasting consequences for the royal family. The ultimate outcome remains uncertain, but it's clear that the internal dynamics of the monarchy are on the brink of a dramatic shift.